All right, I'm back. Well, first of all, I have to correct something. I made a mistake. It is the Oktoberfest is tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, and it's the 17th and the 18th of October, not the 16th. Today is the 16th. So, sorry about that, but straighten it out, and actually a little bit more about the Oktoberfest. We will have everything what you expect from an Oktoberfest. German, that means Schnitzel, Bratwurst, Fußball, umtata, and much more, but we go a little later on that part. Now, I would like to introduce again Mr. J. Jordan, and he was so kind 2 years ago, and started doing a biographical sketch of mine, because he thought, we got to capture all these stories.
Absolutely.
So, and now he's going to ask me a little bit about my life and about what brought me here. And last time, our last show, we stopped, I think, where did we stop?
Just short of an influence that happened in your life. Kelly Johnson developed the F-104 aircraft, which is well produced all over the world, including Germany and Sweden and whatnot. And you were fortunate to meet a Lockheed test pilot. Tell us about that experience.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So when my mom and me, we moved back to Germany in, I think it was 1962 or something like that. I don't remember anymore. Mm-hmm. But then there was that wonderful gentleman. His name was Ben McAvoy, and he was test pilot of the F-104. And that was the gentleman who actually gave me my American influence, I would say. That was, that even it is in my blood, but that was really to live it and to really, suck it in. And he did a great job. I loved it.
He was quite a friend of the family. Came over to
Yes.
Europe and visited, and you.
No, he was not visiting.
Well,
Actually, he was.
Sorry.
He was working in the city where we lived at the F-104 in Novenish
Right.
for Lockheed, and yeah, I think it was Lockheed, right?
Okay. And eventually you did go to America and visit him, too. Right?
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely. Later on,
Right.
my mom and him and me, we always stayed in contact. And my mom turned down the offer at that time to go with him, or we should go with him
Right.
to the United States, but decided not to do. So we stayed in Germany, and that's where I grew up with my German family. Wonderful family, my cousins and my uncles and aunts and grandmother, and was good. I'm blessed, actually, and
Great. There were some other American influences, and we'd like you to comment on those. One, for example, was jazz, rock and roll.
yes, that's right. So actually, I grew up with, I remember, big boxes, music boxes, in a beautiful home with pool and everything.
Right.
And there was always jazz music in the background, and we had a lot of nice parties. Wonderful people came, but I remember this, it was Nat King Cole and Fats Domino, and living in Germany at that time, nobody knew what that was, but I grew up with that, and that was as well something what seed the plan of what actually later on got me still into the music. And my mom, she was an awesome dancer, and all the dances I know, my mom taught me, and she was great in rock and roll, and it was very very. In the music part, she was a good teacher.
Very good. Comment just a moment, and I believe in 1957, Elvis Presley was assigned to Germany, but however, after he left, Give us a little idea of his influence as it continued on with the younger generation in Germany.
Right. I remember my mom. She told me once that that my dad and him, they were stationed at the same time at the same place. Don't ask me where it was. I don't know. I forgot. But that was an influence as well, of course. Then later on, I was 10, 12 years old at school. English was my favorite subject. German, I loved it. I loved my German and history teacher. But English, this gentleman, this teacher, he had a really favor for Elvis Presley, and he played the music, his music, these LPs, while having our classes. And there was that one song, In the Ghetto, what I knew from home, because that's where my mom played, or at home we played it.
Right.
The kids in Germany, they didn't know anything about that, but I knew. But I wasn't sure. I wasn't even thinking about how actually this, the content, the lyrics of this song, was somehow my culture.
Right.
I wasn't aware of that. I grew up in Germany, you know, with all the other girls and boys, and had no reference to what that was, but I loved the song, and I loved the message out of it, because it was so sad. So,
Right.
You know.
Right. Very poignant.
Yes.
Another phenomenon that occurred in the United States that transcended and affected Germany happened to be the movie and, of course, the stage show, Jesus Christ Superstar. Give us a little response to that.
Yes, that's right. Jesus Christ Superstar was in the 70s, that musical, and interesting part that was, I didn't even know, it was part of our German or history or whatever it was subject at school, and we did an interview. We were going out on the streets with a little recorder, and we asked people about, do you know Jesus people? Do you know Jesus people? Have you ever heard about Jesus people? And that's when I realized that I was so easygoing and had no problem with talking to strangers and, you know, start doing interviews at the age of 10, 12 years old or so. And you pointed it out. I didn't even, you know, this is the good thing when somebody does a biographical sketch about you, you all of a sudden realize things what you never thought about. But that's right. That brought me into the really being very, very easygoing with public. And yeah, that's it.
And that actually catapulted you into culture, arts, and promoting talent and those kinds of things later on, right?
That's absolutely right. I never thought about that, but you pointed out. And honestly, I would love to talk more about that next Friday.
To be continued.
1 to 2.
Okay.
To be continued. Thank you. And real quick, we're going through the Oktoberfest in a second as well, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it. And until that time, think about Schnitzel, Bratwurst, Bier,
Grosse beers.
Fußball,
Yes.
großes Bier. All right, see you soon.